All right, we ready to roll? I just want to start by saying thank you to Bronco Nation. That was an unbelievable environment out there tonight. Even through the course of the first half, when we didn't do a whole lot well, we turned the ball over. We didn't play as well as we obviously did in the second half on defense, really in all three phases. But can't tell Bronco Nation how much they were a part of that comeback, the way they were in the second half, the way that stadium was electric. And that's this team, this program, we appreciate you for that. The Albertson Stadium is one of the greatest venues in all of college football, and it was that tonight. We thank Bronco Nation for that. Super excited for the team to find the will from within inside, to come back in the second half and play the way we did. Super excited for the coaches. They did some unbelievable things at halftime in terms of, there were some adjustments at halftime, but really there wasn't a ton of things. We turned the ball over in the first half, as we talked about. At halftime, we knew Ashton, if we're going to get ourselves back in a hurry like we needed to, Ashton was going to be a big part of that. And Ashton just needed a few minutes there after the second fumble in the locker room at halftime. We very well knew he was going to be the guy, one of them, to help us lead, get back into the game and eventually take the lead. Very proud of him. It's not always going to be perfect, but really proud of how Ashton persevered tonight. Really proud of how the quarterbacks played together. We knew this was going to need to be a team victory. This team was coming off a bye week. They certainly had some new things, some new wrinkles that they did on defense and on offense. But the biggest part of that team victory was seeing how the two quarterbacks worked off of each other tonight. And we're willing to do whatever, to help this team win. That's who this team is. We're excited, for this team to continue to mature and to continue to grow forward. We're 2-0 in conference play, and we're going to keep the 1-0 mentality one day at a time. It was really cool experience to be a part of that comeback tonight and to see the players lead themselves into that, to see the coaches will the players back into that tonight. That's who this team is capable of being, and we're excited to build off of that as we move forward.
You guys just looked like a different team in the second half. What did you say at halftime?
It's nothing more than who this team is capable of being. We didn't allow them to score in the second half. We certainly, on defense, played much better in critical downs situations, whether it be third downs or fourth downs. Again, there were guys that had to leave the game. Guys stepped up and played in the game. We adjusted personnel in certain situations and moved some guys around to continue to be able, especially up front, at points in the secondary. Ty went down, had to shuffle the secondary. Ty was not going to come out of the game. Ty jumped back in there, moved some guys around in the front to continue to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. It was a tremendous job by the coaches and the players. And obviously on offense, we felt pretty strong. In the locker room at halftime, we'd been able to do some things in the run game. We showed flashes in the pass game. We just needed to make sure we took care of the ball, and was very pleased that we did that. In the second half, obviously we didn't turn the ball over, and it proved that, that was a big piece for us, scoring points in the second half and not in the first half.
Both quarterbacks were able to find rhythms at different points of the game. Both kind of had a little early struggles, but how would you evaluate kind of how you manage the rotation? Is this something you think will continue for future games?
Yeah, again, they both worked off of each other very well today. Obviously, once we got going and we eliminated the turnovers in the first half, it was awesome to see. I thought Bush did a great job of mixing it up. And it wasn't just like, hey, TJ's going to go in the game and run the ball because that's what everyone's going to think. Maddox ain't just going to go in the game to throw the ball. That's what everyone thinks. Those guys are capable of doing a lot of things. One guy can't just do one thing. That's the cool part about it. And it was awesome to see how we were able to get drives going, how we pushed tempo, how we changed personnel, not only the quarterbacks, but, from how many wide receivers, tight ends, tailbacks were in the game. That's what we're capable of. That's what Bush has built. That's what our offense is built. And we just got to continue to work each and every day to put the pieces in place to build off of what we did today. There's plenty more too that we can do, within our offense, and it's going to be cool to see these guys do it. I thought the O-line obviously did a really good job. We rushed the ball for 262 yards once we committed to the run game and that we were going to run it, and we took care of the ball. Ashton got explosive there, early on in the second half and had a long run. I thought Breezy jumped in there and did a good job as well.
And we can point to halftime, but if you back it up even to the end of that second half, you guys are down 27-7, ball in the 40. It's 4th and 6. There wasn't a lot of momentum for you guys at that point in time. How big was that moment? What went into that?
It was a huge play. Huge play. 4th and 6. It's a critical point in the game going into halftime to cut that lead down. To get to 14 prior to and then come out and know, okay, we get a stop when we come out. This thing could change really quick. It's a one-score game. It's what we talked to the team about, how we finished the first half, how we were going to start the second, and don't be surprised when we find ourselves in a position. And the guys believed, and they went out there and they did it.
What did he? In all honesty, Andy, that it seemed a little flat there in the first half, and Tyler Crow's a little bit of a spark there for you. It looked like.
Yeah, T. Crow could have very well jumped in the game and played tailback too. We were just talking about that when we walked down the hall. He's proven to be, an efficient ball carrier. He had a really explosive physical play on our sideline, receiving the ball out of the backfield. That's who T. Crow is. He jumps back in, he gets healthy, he wants to be on the special teams, he jumps in there and he goes. There was a point in the game too when we had a conversation and I was like, we're going to do this and we need you. We need you to help us lead into it. And he did a great job, not only on the field but on the sideline too, and he brought that spark. And we all know when he gets in the game, he's going to do anything and everything he can, to have an impact on the game.
There was a time there where it felt like you guys were just going to ride out Maddox. It seemed like he had like 28 to 30-something straight snaps. What was there a thought of doing that? And then going to Talon, what was the decision there in that moment?
There's definitely, again, both guys can operate and work the different components of the offense. We knew that to get back in the game, we were going to need to run the ball well. We were going to need to get the ball in Ashton's hands. The box gets thinner when TG is in the game because of the run numbers. But ultimately, too, TG is very capable. And we saw TG make some plays today, not only running the ball, but passing the ball. And what an exciting play he had there when he leaped over the guy. That was a big-time play. I'm sure that's going to end up on a picture somewhere around here. There was a situation where we had a mishap in the backfield and down in the red zone, and TG put his foot in the ground, and he turned a bad situation into a good situation that probably nobody else on really either one of those sidelines could have did.
Was that the 1-yard touchdown run? Was that kind of a broken play then?
Yeah, we just had a miscue on that, and obviously there's not a lot of people that could have did and turned that play into what he did. So very excited about, again, how Bush put it together. He created balance. Like he was talking about, there was a time when, okay, we're just going to throw the ball and we're going to put Mad Dog in there. No, Bush went right back to who we are. We're going to be a physical team up front. And he used the whole offense. He used both quarterbacks. He got the ball to the playmakers. EMAC, had some explosive plays today and some critical moments. That was awesome to see.
You look at back on Monday, we talked about the snowball effect for your defense, and it was limiting big plays. In the first half, you guys allowed 10 explosives. In the second half, 2. Why were we so effective?
You know what? It just comes down to little things. It just comes down to little things. At halftime, the guys decided, it is going to be about the things that we work on every single day, the fundamentals and techniques that make the scheme. It's never about anything else. It really isn't. And they made a decision in the locker room. And obviously, it was awesome to see that they went all in on that. They were very consistent. They were coaching each other on the field in the second half. If somebody wasn't doing something the way we had done it in practice, they were on each other in the second half. That's player-led. That's a team growing and maturing. And that's what we want to continue to see, because that was exciting. We had some big-time stops. We ended up going on third downs. We helped, they were 4 of 12. They had 2 fourth downs they tried. They didn't get either one of them. We had 2 fourth downs. We converted them, and there's plenty of area to improve. We got to keep improving. But we were just talking about TG on the busted play and how he turned that into a touchdown. I mean, we're 4 for 4 in the red zone on TDs. And, again, that's what got us back into the game. The guys believing in it. The guys doing everything they could to do their job and have an impact. Again, I couldn't be more proud of these players and these coaches. We did have a good week of practice. We had a fun week of practice. Now how we build off of this and we continue to mature and grow as a family, that will determine, obviously how successful we'll be as we move forward. But I can tell you this, the determination of that team and how bought in that team is, how much they love each other. You don't do things like that if you don't love each other, if you don't care about each other, if you're not willing to fight for each other. Most teams would have folded up. And, again, not just the players, the coaches, everybody involved tonight. And, again, Bronco Nation was a huge part of that because the stadium was electric. There was one part when the referees came over, too, and were asking about the volume within the stadium and how loud the crowd was. And can't do anything about the crowd, but they asked us to turn down the volume in the stadium. That's never really happened before. That was pretty cool.
5 weeks we've been hearing, the product's almost there, it just comes down to consistency. How nice was it to get that consistency in the second half finally?
Yeah, we saw the team. We saw the team that we have. And you're 100% right. That's why I couldn't be any more proud. I know we could have, should have, would have in the first half, right? But the thing we can focus on and we can draw from is who that team was in the second half. More importantly, how we can be that team. From one quarter to the next, from one half to the next, and that's what it's going to require. This is a conference that has some really good teams in it, and as we move through the conference 1 week at a time, that's what it's going to take.
I know that we're kind of waiting on the sample size, maybe ask a question like this, and I know he wasn't perfect tonight, but when it comes to Ashton Genty, do you have the best running back in the country right now, Andy?
Yeah, he went over, what was it, 1,000 all-purpose?
1,000 all-purpose.
Tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting. Again, I remember what he did in the second half tonight. That's all I'm going to say. The way that guy responded and the way he came back, the way his teammates believed in him, the way he believed in himself, all day, every day. It's pretty cool to see.
You said your guys made a decision at halftime. Is there something about this program, this place, what you said to them, that allowed them to make that decision when their backs were against the wall?
I mean, ultimately, in the first half, we stopped ourselves on drives. We gave the ball up. On defense, we weren't playing the way we practice. And the guys made a decision that they were going to focus in. They were going to lead each other. The coaches did an unbelievable job at halftime. There were some things schematically that we adjusted at halftime. There were some personnel adjustments we had to make because we had some guys go down. But ultimately, in this game, it always just comes down to the fine details of the fundamentals and techniques that make the scheme, bottom line. And the maturity and the discipline to do those things over and over through the course of a game. We talked to the team this week. Each play lasts 4 to 6 seconds. Each play lasts 4 to 6 seconds. Building a mental endurance to go through the course of a game with how many TV timeouts we have, they're probably like 3 hours and 25, 3.5 hours. Go through 3.5 hours and lock in how many ever times, 65 to 70 times for 4 to 6 seconds and be our best. And they did that in the second half.
We talked a lot about, that if your defense could just get that one stop at the end of a couple other games, the record would look vastly different. After you guys go up 8, Mario McCoy gets that pick on Chevin Cordero, who doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. How big was that moment? How big was that for?
Yeah, it was
a new
huge.
guy on your roster?
And then you know, that's a guy that we need. We need Amarion to keep growing. He took a step this week. He wasn't perfect tonight, but he took a huge step this week, and it's awesome to see. In his commitment, because of what he has seen, he's a guy that we need. He's a guy that's very capable, a guy that has a lot of talent, and he's understanding what it looks like here and what it needs to look like every single day so that he can be successful and have an impact on the game like that. It was awesome to see the defense step up at the end and get 4 straight stops. That was big time. And it was the rush, it was the front, working with the coverage. Thought the coaches did a good job of mixing it up with, Coach D did a good job mixing it up with how he was calling plays in the second half. Again, he made some adjustments at halftime, and it was really cool to see how the players executed those things in the second half.
This win tonight tied for the second largest comeback in program history in FBS era. What does it mean to be a part of that?
Yeah, Patrick was talking about that as one of the biggest comeback victories in front of one of our largest crowds. I think it was the second largest crowd we've had here at Albertson Stadium. You know what? Just how happy for the players and for the coaches to will themselves back into that. It's not easy. To dig down inside, obviously the score right before the half helped tremendously. That's a different deal if we're coming out. And to be able to get those stops on defense, and when we started stacking up those stops on defense and the offense started pushing the ball down the field, the energy on the sideline just rose. And to feel the guys lead each other, that was the coolest part about it. For them to encourage each other, and it was both sides of the ball helping each other out. For them to take charge in between the third going into the fourth quarter. It was pretty cool to see this team take a step forward and lead themselves. You don't get to be a part of things like this a whole lot. Usually, it's very hard to fight your way back in to games like this, but it speaks to the people in this program.
EMAC had big receptions from both quarterbacks. Just, what can you say about his play today? I mean, I know he's been doing this for you all season, but, didn't matter who was in. He was making the big plays.
Yeah, he went for, 170? I think that was that a career? That's a career high for him today. Yeah, the first one there, the long one, that was huge. EMAC's continued to do that, whether it's in practice or in games. And this is not a guy that's just doing it on the field now. This is a guy that is growing a lot as a young man. And I know those are the things that everybody doesn't get to see all the time, but who EMAC is right now, compared to the young man he was when he got here this is a guy that is going to do unbelievable things. We're proud of him. There's other wide receivers that, made some big-time plays tonight as well. Again, we talked about T. Crow catching the ball out of the backfield and had a big-time explosive play on our sideline.
You played linebacker here, obviously. What's it like to watch a kid like Andrew Simpson come along so fast for your defense?
Yeah, he took a big step. And this game plan was quite different. He's standing right over here, so I'm going to make him blush a little bit. But this game plan was quite different. What we needed to do with this game plan was different, and he played a lot of different spots. It may not look like that, but the things that went into this plan required him to be really diligent to make it come together, from front structures to coverages. We played some coverages, but had various fronts that went along with them that adjusted things that he and others had to do. And he did a really good job of that on top of being productive. And so we're looking forward to seeing him continue to grow, continue to create a process each and every week that's going to allow him to be a linebacker that leads, that communicates, that leads a defense, that gets guys lined up, and that is efficient of a player he was tonight. Proud of him.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.